MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you.
Coming up next on State Circle, the governor demands action on crime.
Pass the Violent Firearm Offenders Act of 2020.
And they're off. The Pimlico bill leaves the gate.
What is good for Pimlico is good for the whole state of Maryland.
And deflating balloon releases.
For it to suddenly be like illegal or for you to be fined from celebrating that, I think that's just kind of preposterous.
It's really intended to change behavior.
Connecting Marylanders to their government. This is State Circle.
Good evening. The big story around State Circle this week is a focus on crime. In his State of the State address, Governor Hogan said that Baltimore cannot reverse its escalating murder rate without action from the General Assembly.
If you do not consider any other legislation, and if you accomplish nothing else in the next 61 days, pass the Violent Firearm Offenders Act of 2020.
The governor's bill would increase penalties for possession of illegal guns and for the use of a gun in a violent crime. The governor also wants greater disclosure of sentences handed down by judges. Also this week, legislative leaders unveiled their crime package, as Sue Copen reports.
We've reached a tipping point in our approach to public safety. Our old ways of doing things no longer work.
Surrounded by Democrats from both the House and Senate, House Speaker Adrian Jones joined with other legislative leaders in introducing their plan to battle crime around the state.
Crime prevention isn't just a Baltimore issue, it's an issue for everyone.
The Democrats say their plan consists of three primary elements: real accountability, smarter resources, and fewer illegal guns. And it will include an audit of gun crimes throughout the state.
We want to trace them from arrest to charge to conviction and every step in between so that we can find out what happens along the way and we can truly find out why people aren't being held responsible in gun crimes.
Senate Judicial Proceedings Chair Will Smith says the plan also includes better coordination of crime-fighting efforts across jurisdictions through the creation of regional crime councils.
These councils will have representatives from state and local law enforcement entities so that they can share criminal intelligence, focusing resources on targeting violent crime and identifying crime schemes and trends.
And the Democrats are counting on the governor for support as well.
So we're looking for the governor to work with us in league to make sure that we're increasing the staffing levels for the Department of Public Safety and Corrections, to make sure that we're increasing the staffing level for the Department of Juvenile Services, and to make sure we're increasing the staffing level for our parole and probation services.
House Minority Whip Delegate Kathy Szeliga says Republicans look forward to working with the Democrats.
Great things happen when we do work together, but immediately we need to get violent criminals off the streets. We are right now on track to have another record year of murders, and we just can't let that happen.
One area both Republicans and Democrats agree needs to be addressed is witness intimidation.
When there's a revolving door of violent criminals put right back in their neighborhood, they're not willing to talk to police. So we do need to work on witness intimidation.
It's been an ongoing issue in Baltimore, an ongoing issue all the way across the state. And so if we can work together to figure out a solution to that, we will.
As for the cost of implementing the plan,
at the end of the day, what is the cost of a lost life? What is the cost of hundreds of lost lives? We believe that a fundamental purpose of government is to make people safe. We'll get that done and work with any willing partner this year.
In Annapolis, Sue Copen for State Circle.
In the governor's State of the State message, he also focused attention on education. There are differences over the cost of the Kirwan Commission plan, which was introduced this week. The governor touted increases in operational funds during his administration, and he stressed the accountability provisions of the Kirwan Commission report.
I stand here today, ready and willing to continue working alongside you to ensure that every single child in our state has access to a great education, regardless of what neighborhood they happen to grow up in. But instead of continuing to simply debate how much more we should spend, let's have productive discussions about how we can hold local school systems accountable for the billions of state tax dollars we are already investing.
Speaking for state Democrats, Senate President Pro Tem Melanie Griffith focused on workforce development.
2/3 of the jobs in Maryland require a degree or certification, but only about 30% of Marylanders are receiving these degrees and certifications that they need. By preparing our students to become that well-trained workforce, we can advertise ourselves as being open for business. In Maryland, we understand that every child must have equal access to a high-quality education. We must make investments in our classrooms and in our buildings.
The governor also called for nonpartisan redistricting and a tax cut for retirees, both initiatives that have failed to advance in previous sessions. Also introduced this week, a state-funded rebuild of both the Pimlico and Laurel racetracks. It's designed to keep the Preakness in Baltimore, as Charles Robinson reports.
Outside, Pablo Del Monte, right on Curlin.
The most important thing is that the community is at the center of these conversations, and that we know that Pimlico is a real opportunity to transform, have economic investment in Baltimore City, but also it's a state treasure and state investment.
The sport of kings has lost its luster in Maryland. The Stronach Group, which owns the state's thoroughbred tracks, is looking for assistance.
Laurel Park is part of the deal to refurbish Pimlico. What they're hoping to do here, like at Pimlico, is to redo the racetrack.
The price tag for keeping the Preakness in Maryland is $375 million. The bill, called the Racing and Community Development Act, was introduced in the Senate. The bill would provide $180 million to Pimlico and $155 million to Laurel Park in Anne Arundel County. The money would be used to tear down the existing grandstands, change the racing surface, and add new amenities.
It's a part of our county where people want to see some growth and development. It's right between Baltimore and D.C., and we have transportation there. And people like having a racetrack there, but it's over 100 years old, and it's not a great entertainment destination.
What is good for Pimlico is good for the whole state of Maryland. And so what my people are saying is they just want to make sure that everybody is taken care of.
The city of Baltimore and the Stronach Group were at loggerheads last year with accusations and legal challenges. During the interim, both sides met and laid the foundation for a deal, which is before the legislature.
I think the bill as introduced really reflects the broad agreement that was set forth over the summer. There are, of course, little details that have to be worked out. I have every faith that the committees in the House and Senate will have those tough conversations and figure out how to get it through this year.
The racetrack deal adds to the number of high-profile and high price tag items before the legislature this session. In Laurel, I'm Charles Robinson for State Circle.
State lawmakers are being asked to expand the use of ignition interlock devices in drunk driving cases. The legislation, backed by Mothers Against Drunk Driving, is aimed at cases where drivers charged with drunk driving are given probation before judgment.
This legislation will close the gap between the probation before judgment, the PBJ, and the conviction by requiring drunk drivers to complete 180 days on interlock as a condition of their probation.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, compared to license suspensions alone, ignition interlocks are effective in reducing repeat drunk driving offenses by 67%.
It's estimated that drunk drivers are responsible for about a third of Maryland's traffic fatalities. Intentionally releasing a balloon into the air could lead to a hefty fine if some lawmakers have their way. Nancy Amata reports.
I can think of all the times like my graduation, I can think of people's weddings.
It's a familiar scene to celebrate happy and momentous occasions and commemorate sad events.
But soon, this ritual could become a thing of the past in Maryland. Lawmakers are debating whether to ban the intentional release of balloons into the atmosphere. Upon hearing the proposal, this resident is feeling deflated.
I can only imagine, like, if you're trying to celebrate something or celebrate someone's life or somebody's graduation or some big thing, for it to suddenly be like illegal or for you to be fined from celebrating that, I think that's just kind of preposterous.
Those who are caught letting their balloon go on purpose would be fined $250.
It's really intended to change behavior. We know that balloons, as they go up, have to come down somewhere.
One of the bill's sponsors, Senator Clarence Lamb, says releasing balloons has a real impact on the environment.
We've heard reports where wildlife have been strangled because of balloon strings that have ended up around their necks. We've seen fishes and turtles ingest the balloons. We've even seen assateague ponies with balloons coming out of their mouth because they've been impacted by this. We've seen electrical lines shorted out along the eastern shore.
The bill would exempt legitimate scientific balloon releases and anyone who lets go of a balloon accidentally. Lamb concedes.
You'd have to catch someone in the act. I think the enforcement is challenging, but I think this is really trying to get at preventing people from doing this. There are other ways to be able to commemorate special occasions, to celebrate and remember important events without having to litter into our environment.
The bill appears to have bipartisan support. Even so, one senator is proposing an amendment which would exclude any child under 13 years of age from getting fined even if they let go of their balloons on purpose.
But you can't control a kid, and even though it says unintended, sometimes kids can be brats and just despite their parent let it go.
Senator J.B. Jennings questions if the state needs to legislate balloon releases, given that other litter laws, he says, aren't being enforced.
If we want to really get into the environment, look at the street corner at the red light and look at all the cigarette butts on the ground. I can't tell you how many times I've been at a light and watched somebody flick a cigarette out the window. Do we enforce that? Absolutely not.
Queen Anne County banned the release of non-biodegradable balloons last fall. If a statewide ban passes in Maryland, it would join several other states, including Virginia, which now prohibits the release of 50 or more balloons within an hour. I'm Nancy Yamada for State Circle.
And Nancy tells us that bill received preliminary approval in the state Senate today. Will Maryland follow Massachusetts in becoming the second state to end the sale of all flavored tobacco products? Advocates for the bill say the federal government has failed to protect lives, especially kids who they say are being targeted by big tobacco with flavors like mint or menthol, gummy bear, and cotton candy. The bill that's being considered by lawmakers would ban the sale of all flavored tobacco products.
We're tired of seeing tobacco companies reinvent themselves to hook the next generation. We're finally here to say no more and stop big tobacco from selling these dangerous products in our state once and for all.
Attorney General Frosch and the Legislative Black Caucus are supporting the bill. Our newsmaker this week is Robert McCord, Maryland's Secretary of Planning. Sir, thank you for being with us.
Well, it's good to be with you. Thank you, Jeff.
We want to help people figure out what they need to do about the census. I know there is a census. I know it's soon, but I'm not honestly sure what I'm supposed to do now.
Well, you're supposed to fill it out. That's the main point. Fill out the census. The census is going to come to you sometime in the week of March of 12th. You'll get a postcard, and for the first time ever, you can fill it online, by phone, or by form. So there's 3 ways to respond to the census, and that will start in the week of March 12th.
I think I remember from a census or two ago that some people got basically a short form, some people got a longer form with more detailed information request. Is that the case this time?
Yes, you also have a long form available to you. It's not for everyone. I'm one of the people that got the long form last time, but most people will have a form that will take them 10 minutes or less to fill out.
Talk about the importance of reaching everybody and everybody doing their part to get the form or the phone call or the online result back in.
This is very important. It's a family portrait we take every 10 years. It needs to reflect who we are as Maryland, and we need everyone in the picture. It's about participation, it's about empowerment, it's about funding. People talk about funding, and that breaks down to $675 billion in federal money that's available. Our calculations from last census is that every mail-in not counted cost the state $18,250 over the course of 10 years.
How do we know how many people weren't counted? Related to that, how do you plan to do better to get as many people to respond as possible? What's the outreach plan?
Jeff, that's a very good question. How do we know who are not counted? The not counted is a combination of people who self-respond, and then the Census Bureau will do non-response follow-up. So they go to door, they go to each address that the Census Bureau has to try to get a response, and then they use administrative records and impute some categories of folks based on how many people they've counted in this area, how many people average per household, that kind of thing. And so you end up having a total number and an estimate for a non-response and an estimate for an undercount.
So among the communities that are historically tend to be undercounted, there's people who are hard to find. There are also people who maybe are worried about information getting to immigration enforcement. What's the approach to those folks?
The approach has always been go to trusted voices. I have been all over the state. I've been to a collection of 25 churches in Prince George's County who have been working hard to make sure the immigrant community that they serve understands that this census is important for them, that the information, the personal information cannot be shared. Every census worker takes an oath. It lasts a lifetime. The information cannot be shared under penalty of 5 years in prison, $250,000 fine. Every one of these census workers cannot share personal information. So the information is safe, and the information doesn't get shared either between federal government agencies, and it doesn't get shared between state or local agencies. Demographic information is the only information that's shared.
So the census comes around every 10 years. The census scams also come around every 10 years, and you have people who are, the constant quest online to get people to give up their social security numbers, their credit card numbers, their passwords, and so forth. The census people are not actually asking for your social, right?
Exactly. They're not asking for your social number. They will give you a postcard with an identifier that identifies you in association with your address. You use that number to respond online. There are other ways that they can confirm you are the person from that address, and they will use those methods to make sure you're the right person who's responding. But you should respond only to someone with census credentials. If you're having non-response follow-up, people coming to your house, you need to check the credential of the person that's asking for the information, U.S. Census credentials, U.S. Census bag, U.S. Census a folder and a clipboard. Their credentials, everyone who does the work is credentialed. So check your credentials, and it's not a difficult problem if you understand that only census workers have the valid credentials.
Well, I hope this goes great. Everything goes smoothly. When do we get the results? When do we find out how many Marylanders there actually are?
The results are going to come to the states by April of 2021. We could get the results sooner. The results of actually responding online by census tract may be available real time. If they are available real time, the Department of Planning will put them on its website to show what areas are responding as the process goes through. But at the end of the process, the numbers are due to the executive branch by the end of December. Then they are put together and delivered by April 21st, by the middle of April. We
Very
could have
good.
them earlier.
Rob
and then
McCord.
in Maryland, we have a process of reallocating incarcerated individuals back to their last known address.
Very good.
So adjusted numbers for Maryland will take a little while.
Sir, we have to leave it there. Rob McCord, Maryland Secretary of Planning, thanks for the time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate being here.
And we're back with a political roundtable right after this.
Can you tell us what you know?
Turning back now to the race for the White House.
The State Board of Elections voted Thursday to set up a new election.
It must be a very emotional day.
The world changed in the blink of an eye.
Children are at the heart of this story.
For the political roundtable this week, our Sue Copen is joined by Josh Kurtz, co-founder of MarylandMatters.org. Thanks for being with us. You were both at the State of the State address on Wednesday, which felt to me just a little bit different from the State of the Union address the night before. What do you think?
I think that's a safe assumption. It was a little less contentious. I think that's safe to say.
And consciously so, too. I think, Governor Hogan frequently makes mention of how different the political discourse in Maryland is from what goes on Capitol Hill, and it was a perfect opportunity to trot that line out.
And, Josh, it seemed like, and you had a terrific analysis piece on MarylandMatters.org about the speech, that maybe there was agreement on what the issues are, but a little talking past each other on what any legislation ought to actually include.
I think that's really true. I think despite the warm feelings and the warm sentiments that were expressed, there really isn't a lot of cooperation right now between the Democratic legislature and the Republican governor. And while, as you say, Jeff, they do sort of agree on some of the things that need to be done, they don't really agree on the solutions. And at least for now, they're both going to be pursuing their own agendas and not really cooperating too much, so far as we can tell.
Although it's always interesting because with the popularity the governor enjoys across party line, that you might think that perhaps that might play into it, but that is not the case.
That's true. I think the Democrats at this point, they have the numbers in most cases to override gubernatorial vetoes, as we've seen just a week or so ago. And so, they've got their agenda and they're planning to plow through it. Okay,
so we now have the Kerwin bill, which is exhaustive and expensive for improving K through 12 or pre-K through 12 education. As you say, we have a popular governor. We have a Democrat-led legislature that has a supermajority. What's going to happen?
It's 199 pages, so this is not going to be a quick just look at it like a lot of bills might be in some cases. This is an enormous undertaking.
Right. We should add, as we're taping this, we haven't seen the text. It's been introduced, but for technical reasons, it's not quite ready for us to read yet, so we don't know all the details. But yeah, the enormity of the bill, the enormity of the expense that it's asking for is kind of mind-boggling, and it's really going to be the focus of the main debate for the rest of the session, I think.
Which kind of goes to a point that was made over in the Senate yesterday about sort of a logjam that may happen because of the number of bills that are coming in, and they're running out of time, and they're discussing ways in which to try and streamline things, that a bill like this one might not get the attention it needs because of that.
Yeah, or more likely other bills won't get the attention they need because this is so all-consuming.
And it's not the only late-arriving bill. I mean, we're past 1 month into a 3-month legislative session, and the Pimlico bill just dropped, and also from the Speaker, a bill to fund and mandate a settlement of this incredibly long-running federal lawsuit with the historically black colleges in Maryland.
Right, and these are complex, in some cases controversial and expensive bills. The one thing you can say is any bill sponsored by the Speaker, the HBCU bill is, the Pimlico bill, she's the prime sponsor in the House side, chances of those passing are really good, but that doesn't mean it's going to be an easy process all the way.
And even passage doesn't guarantee much, because if it should hit the governor's desk.
What does he do?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Right.
Josh, you reported that the new board members to replace the scandal-plagued former board of the University of Maryland Medical System, those nominations are not exactly flying through the Senate.
Right. They were heard, I guess, about 2 weeks ago in the Senate nominating committee, but the senators have said they're going to sit on them probably till mid-March. I guess there's another legislative audit that's going to come out about the scandal and the board, and so they're going to let these nominees, and I think there are 19 of them. They're going to let them cool their heels for another month or so.
But in the meantime, I mean, somebody's in charge over there, right?
we can presume so. Yes. Yes.
Very good.
Of course, the later it goes, the more difficult it gets in getting all the stuff approved in time.
Our thanks to Sue Copen and Josh Kurtz. Thanks very much. Have a good weekend. That is our program for this week. Tune in every week at this time as we bring the State House to your house. You can also connect with State Circle online, streaming videos at video.mpt.tv. And please follow us on Twitter at MPT News. Now, for all of us at MPT, I'm Jeff Salkin. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.
TV Worth Watching is supported by the members of MPT and by
71 acres in downtown Baltimore devoted to learning, discovery, care, and service. We train the professionals who secure the health, well-being, and just treatment of Maryland citizens. We create the knowledge that cures disease and strengthens communities across the state and around the world. UMB makes the world more just, more enlightened, healthier, and more humane. We are UMB.